Let's play a game. Which nation has been the best in the last 20 years? Spain, Argentina, or France? Write your answer in the comments. Spain is now the reigning champion in all these competitions. Crazy, right? Yet, Spain's success is the reason Wenger destroyed his legacy. Let me explain. Spain has succeeded once again and cemented itself in football's history books as arguably the greatest nation of the past 20 years. Along with Real Madrid and Barcelona, the past 18 years have been a time of dominance for Spanish football, both in club and international football. Arsène Wenger envisioned this period of dominance in the early 2000s and saw that Spain was the future of football, and so he set out to revolutionize his club in that image. Yet, in his attempts to replicate the Spanish model, he failed, and thus his legacy at Arsenal will be based on a decision which has ruined Arsenal as a force in both England and Europe.
You got a thought on Wenger? You like him? Do you think he's a football man?
No, not particularly. I've been on the bench and listened to what he's telling his players to do. I've been working for Sky in games where he's made very strange decisions.
A double-double winner and an invincible manager, not a football man.
My take on him was he got very, very lucky at a time when French football produced its greatest ever group of players.
Are you having this?
I'm trying to hear the argument first.
Greatest ever group of players, inherited the best back five in world football, and a 22-year-old Bergkamp. I think Wrighty was still alive in them.
There's a lot of luck you're talking about there, though, isn't there? To say he's not a
And then he had 10
man.
years where he won a couple of FA Cups because that cycle had been and gone.
Are you being mean-spirited because you're just culturally different?
No, I've never spoken to him about football. He'd never come into my office after a game. The only manager that never did.
Maybe he didn't like you.
I'd go to his office after
Maybe he
a
knows
game.
you buy cheap wine.
I'd go to his office after a game. He would never be there to talk football. I don't know if he's a football man or not.
When Bruce Rico was sacked from Arsenal, Gerard Houllier suggested that David Dein bring Wenger to Highbury. It was a decision which was vindicated when in Wenger's first full season, Arsenal won the Premier League for the first time and the FA Cup. It seemed this unknown was a genius, and Ferguson now had a true rival. Although Wenger struggled to win any trophies between 1999 and 2001, he was developing a side which had the potential to dominate England and potentially Europe for years to come. It is important to note that when Wenger arrived at Arsenal, he was very fortunate. He inherited one of the best defenses in England and was given the talents of Bergkamp to aid his attack. He developed his side on these strong foundations, and in the period between 1997 to 2001, he brought in the French connection of Vieira, Petit, Henry, Anelka, and Wiltord. The French had won both the World Cup in 1998 and the Euro Championships in 2000, and were without doubt the best side in international football at that time. Wenger used his connections and knowledge of the French side to build this foreign force in English football. Arsenal's strengths came from the quality and, importantly, mentality of this group of players. The side recaptured the Premier League in 2002, along with the FA Cup again, yet it was the 2003-04 season which would show the greatness of the work Wenger had done at Arsenal. The team would go unbeaten all year long and would play some of the best football seen in the Premier League. However, in Arsenal's centenary year, the Special One took Chelsea to the top, and Arsenal finished 12 points behind the winners. An FA Cup success would be the final trophy won by Arsenal in 9 years. The barren period of trophies since coincides with the development of the new stadium at the Emirates and has led to the investment into the stadium has been the excuse used by the club and many in the pro-Wenger media. However, in my opinion, the truth for me is much more damning on Arsène Wenger. It concerns his vision and his qualities as a coach. A change of mentality. After the Invincibles season, Wenger appeared to change his mentality. He saw a change in the way football was going. Perhaps it was the 2002 World Cup, in which France was nothing short of awful, which alerted him to the fact that the French period of dominance was at an end. Wenger traveled to Barcelona and saw the impressive work which was going on. Youth players like Messi, Piqué, and Fabregas were coming through, and players like Xavi and Iniesta were becoming established players. Wenger must have looked at this set of players and thought this was the future of football. And he was right. Thus, Arsenal embarked on a Spanish revolution which saw the arrival of players like José Reyes and Cesc Fabregas. The new mentality pointed to a new type of player, smaller and more technical, like the players we see for Spain now. Players like Cazorla and Nacho Monreal had been brought in with varying success, and the arrival of Arteta seemed like a desperate attempt to replace and retain the Spanish creativity in midfield. If this was his belief, that the Spanish model was the future, then he was both right and wrong. The Spanish model of development, notably being put in place by Barcelona more so than others, was already a decade in, being set up around 1990. For Arsenal to overhaul their previous French style and philosophy was both risky, dangerous, and ultimately flawed. The problem was, and has been, since that Wenger neglected the biggest asset he had, the thing which won him the league 3 times, and which made Arsenal such a force, the defense. I have alluded already to what Wenger inherited when he arrived at Highbury. Importantly, he inherited a world-class defense, which was organized, unified, and solid. Under George Graham, many called Arsenal boring. The reason they were called boring is simply because they did not concede goals, which for a side wishing to be successful is the most important factor in winning trophies, a feat which Spain, right now, are showing. Graham had laid the foundation for Wenger to take the side forward. It is something often said, yet, which is not regarded highly enough. Wenger was able to add pieces to this solid foundation and provide attacking prowess to complement the defense, which not surprisingly brought success and accolades. He evolved the Graham defense of Adams and Company, with Lehmann, Campbell, Kolo Toure, Cole, and Lauren. At this time, the defense continued to be strong, fast, and organized. In 2003-04, the presence of Keown, along with Vieira and Silva, gave Arsenal and Wenger leaders who offered organization, stability, and structure to make the side defensively solid. In the unbeaten season, Arsenal conceded only 26 goals. They possessed quality, and importantly, intimidation. Remember Van Nistelrooy's penalty for United and the intensity and dominance of the Arsenal players around him. This was a team which was feared. And for some reason, call it ideology or misguided vision, Wenger threw it all away. There is no doubt for me that the change in the size of the players has had a major impact on Arsenal's success. Wenger rid the side of winners, strong mentalities, and intimidation. Arsenal went from possessing World Cup winning players in his midfield and possessing a squad that knew what it took to win the Premier League, with a group of predominantly young, technical, and small players. Arsenal went from one of the best senior sides in Europe to a youth team throughout a matter of seasons. The Spanish ideal is confusing to me because the French era did not possess just brutes. Arsenal played arguably better football than they ever did trying to copy Barcelona. Football, which led to titles and success, played with a style and flair which captivated many hearts and minds. Importantly, it was an era built on excellent defending. All factors which, in my opinion, Arsenal lacked. It is easy to say, we will replicate the Spanish style, yet Spain and Barcelona are more than just style. They have a collective spirit and understanding which allows them to play this way. Wenger is porous during games. He rarely changes anything, whether formation or substitutions. When he does it, tends to be like for like. This is odd, as there are times when players and formations need to change to adapt to the game. Is it no surprise that Wenger has not opted to go to Italy or Spain, where tactical maneuvers are a big part of the game continually throughout the game? Listen to Mourinho talk of tactics in Italy, and he says it was like a constant battle of chess with the other manager. Is Wenger capable of this thinking and adaptation? Wenger is stubborn and refuses to change his ways and tactics, and has done a disservice to the fans and players. If, however, he just does not know what to do, hoping that his players will figure it out, then he should not have been Arsenal's manager for so long. A youth team coach may use this method, allowing his players to learn the game and solve their own problems. Yet, this is not youth football. This is top-level football, which requires changes and an understanding of tactics. Does he change anything to suit the teams he faces? The United 8-2 defeat contained no tactic or instruction. They should have sat deep and looked to counter, yet they were shockingly open. His mentality appears to be, go out there and play. This is not top-level football. A manager showing more understanding of the game is Mikel Arteta, a man who adapts and changes tactics and formations to suit the game. Perhaps his education from La Masia has given him the edge over Wenger tactically. Do you think that Guardiola doesn't alter his tactics? He is always moving players and adapting in the game, always configuring game plans and styles to suit the opposition to win. Mourinho, as we know, is a master of it. Unai Emery at Aston Villa and Arne Slot at Liverpool are tacticians who evaluate and make changes during games. These are masters of the game. You simply cannot put Wenger in this bracket tactically. He wouldn't be able to compete with these men if he was still managing. In this analysis of Arsenal, I have attempted to be objective and analyzed what I see as faults in the philosophy of Wenger. His signings have been questioned, yet perhaps it is the way he handles these players more than the players themselves. Does he play them in the right places? Is he bringing in players who improve the team, recruiting players needed to fill positions, or just buying prototype players that he likes and putting them in positions which don't suit them? Tactically, he has shown he relies on his players to make decisions instead of him. He lacks the ability to change style and formations when required. His 4-3-3 is too rigid, predictable, and slow, lacking all the necessities for a successful 4-3-3 to work. Yet he's stuck with it when he can't break down a team. Why does not try to play over the top, turn a team, and get his players behind the lines? What once was a strong and fast counterattacking 4-4-2 philosophy had become a predictable possession-based formation, lacking the guile, craft, and speed to break through defenses. Wenger can be accused of not having the right personnel for the style he wished to play. He is to blame. It is his players, his tactics, and his motivating skills, which have resulted in a poor team with no guidance, lost as individuals, and disjointed as a team. Quite simply, Wenger's Spanish Revolution had been an embarrassment, and the loyal Arsenal fans who believed in Wenger were deluded. He has taken Arsenal from expecting to challenge for the title to a period of contentment with a top-4 finish to a Europa finish. He made them believe that Arsenal don't spend money, when in fact the money spent has brought poor quality, and his biggest achievement is convincing them that he is the only one who can take this side forward. Arsène Wenger made a graveyard mistake in trying to revolutionize Arsenal. Quite simply, he failed. He misunderstood what made his side so strong in the late 90s and early 2000s and believed that he saw a change in how the game would be played. He was right about the Spanish, yet forgot that Spanish football is based on more than just their technical skills and possession. Above all, Wenger forgot the importance of a solid defensive foundation, which was neglected for beautiful football. It has led to a period of mediocrity and, worryingly for Arsenal fans, a very empty trophy cabinet. What do you think? Did Wenger destroy his Arsenal legacy? Are we being too harsh? We have a video next week on an even more controversial manager next week. Smash the subscribe button so you do not miss it.